Hey folks, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online. We're going to continue production for one of the projects I'll have publishing in 2024 called Martial Powers. It's an alternate magic system for martial characters to have a mana resource akin to spellcasting. So, checking my signal here, it sounds like I'm coming through okay. I'm going to boost my signal here for a moment across the internets. You know what? I suppose I'll at some point figure out how to like schedule stuff. So like there's a countdown like professionals have. So like while I go through the social media push effect, you'll see something more entertaining than me flopping around on screen pressing buttons like a madman while trying to fill the space with something entertaining to say as I go through the process of punching Discord and Reddit and Twitter and all my outreaches for folks to know that I'm live, because I always just do it spontaneously. So we'll see if I eventually come up with a better way of doing all this stuff. But yeah, I create role-playing games. I play 5e. I DM from level 1 to 20 in about typically, hold on, here is 7. Bam, that goes there. And here, there we go. Okay, cool. I got everything taken care of. Yeah, I run campaigns in D&D 5e from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours, just depending on how the workflow is going. And so all the books that I publish are tools that I use in my campaigns. Either I built them knowing I would need them for a campaign, and since they're a polished product, I publish it for folks to enjoy. Or there are tools that I created during the course of a campaign that kind of organically grew as something that was needed. Like the Theurgy ability check casting that you see down below. That evolved from live play campaign of increasing the complexity of ritual systems and casting during downtime activities. For instance, in comparison, the 5-color mana spell point variant rule bundle that I have there, that was created specifically because I wanted to run games as a DM using the color mana spell points, like using color mana in Magic the Gathering as the power source system instead of the 8 schools of magic and spell slots, which is what's generic for Dungeons and Dragons. So I needed to create an alternate power system and spellcasting mechanic that would allow a character to be expressed that way. And it has been just a miracle and a joy to see that thing manifest. And now with the Martial Powers project that we're in the process of creating, it'll have all 13 classes using the same color mana resource to be able to cast spells or rechargeable or resource fed effects like Battle Masters using mana instead of a superiority die. And the mana grants you a die, kind of like inspiration dice do, to either deal more damage or to modify die rolls, saving throws, attack rolls, stuff like that, as well as being able to spend mana to create concentration buffing effects like aura enchantments onto your character, and to be able to do point-click magic effects, kind of like instantaneous spells like curses or damage, or like forcing movement, but also Battle Master stuff like spend a point of mana, point at your friend, and he can then use a reaction to move his full distance and make an attack. For instance, Battle Master type stuff, but converting it into a mana source system, and then having not only a pool of mana to expend to trigger these effects, but also to be able to sacrifice action economy to get free mana every round. Like you can sacrifice attacks during an attack action, and then use your bonus action to cast a maneuver, like to channel a maneuver or to trigger a Battle Master effect. You sacrifice 2 attacks at 5th level. That gives you 2 points of mana that you can burn on these maneuvers that then basically become a limitless resource that you can use. But it costs you 2 attacks to get that one for free. You could just trigger it as a bonus action if you wanted to spend 2 mana on that 2nd rank power. Or you could make 1 attack and then blow the other attack so that you could then use your bonus action with a reduced cost, like a 4-point maneuver, like a 4 mana maneuver. You just spend an attack, like you sacrifice an attack, and it becomes 3 mana instead. Take a feat that allows you to make that power more efficient, and you can drop the cost another point. So you could theoretically sacrifice, like, say, an 11th level fighter with 3 attacks and efficient power could blow all 3 attacks, sacrifice all of those, so when you use your bonus action to trigger the 4th rank maneuver, efficient power drops it down to 3. The 1, 2, 3 attacks bite it down to 0. You can effectively cast a 4th level spell for free. But everything that we have in this game is every round the target can attempt to escape it by succeeding a saving throw. So and nothing has any like permanent durations on them or like save or suck effects. They're all things that the target can eventually wiggle out of if they hit their die rolls, or if they spend mana to boost their die roll. Like you could take one of the powers is spend a point of mana, add a power die, or like D6 at 1st level, D8 at 9th level, D10 at 17th level. Each point of mana you spend gives you an extra die roll to increase your saving throw. So at the end of your round, when you're trying to end these effects, you can make your saving throw, dump a point of mana on top of it as just a free action to do, and now you're rolling extra dice to see if you can ramp up and hit your saving throw. So you get hit with a lot of conditions, but you can buy your way out of those conditions by spending mana to ramp your saving throws. And creatures can do it too. So it's kind of like legendary resistance. But when you do all these actions, they're either free for you to use, or they deal damage despite whatever effect they do. So there's always either reduced cost to increase value, or there are collateral effects that automatically trigger that they can get out of. Like if you hit them with a whole person paralysis sort of effect, they will be paralyzed for 1 round, and at the end of that round, they could potentially save their way out of it. So spells hit you with a saving throw up front, and if you fail the saving throw at the beginning of your next round, you can save again. With this system, the effect automatically hits you, but at the end of your first round of being affected by it, you then get a saving throw to end. So it's as though you automatically fail your saving throw for the first round, but the effects that it has are far more mild. They aren't nearly as save or die or save or suck like spells are. They're debilitating, hampering, reducing your action economy, or hindering your ability to perform your actions. But very few of them are truly just save or die. Like very few of them are like that. So it has a different balance that makes the powers feel different from spells, because it looks at power and effects from a different perspective. So anyway, those are the ideas that are going behind it. So we are in the process of building this book. Hey, if you're interested in this stuff, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. You can catch the full list. Let's see, converting stuff, Discord. Oh yeah, if you go to my my Patreon channel here, you don't have to be a member of the patron. You don't have to be a patron to access any of these articles. But if you were to dance your way down here, past all of these to the playtest content, if you click on YouTube streams, that takes you right here, right now. Hey guys. But if you click on the Martial Powers playtest, it'll open up a Google Doc. It's a read-only document, but it's ready to go from level 1 to 20 for all the classes. So you can just dive into this shit if you want. And starting Monday, we're going to start building sample characters with this. So just to wrap up, I shout out to the Ravnica DMs Reddit channel for being supportive and just for being there, because it's a great place to bounce Ravnica ideas. I just posted to Twitter. If you're on the Twitter X platform, you can follow me at Phil Kearney if you want to get notifications and see artwork and stuff about stuff that I'm doing. And you can. I now have a new Discord community that I just launched this week, so you can dive in and hang out with all all the conversation stuff about mana, Spelljammer, MTG stuff, Eberron. Yeah, those are the 3 arenas I normally hang out in. So there you go. So yeah, we're going to get on with the project. Here's the same document that I just cracked open as a read-only, but of course I'll be editing it today. Hey, Bills, how you doing, my guy? So I am a big Ravnica fan. The campaign, this martial power system that we've been developing, it can use this universal magic, kind of like key. I was talking about this yesterday. It can just use the universal key, and you can keep the 8 schools of magic if you want. Or you can use the color magic paradigm from Magic the Gathering of white, blue, black, red, green magic. And these 5 colors kind of are like a philosophical alignment system that is physically manifested through the type of magic that those philosophies represent. And there's corresponding damage types with each color. So when you create a character that uses color mana, You choose which colors that you want to represent your character, perhaps philosophically, or because you just like a particular guild. Like Dimir, for instance, is House Dimir in Ravnica is blue and black magic. So all the guilds, all 10 guilds in Ravnica, have have a combination of 2 colors. And let's see where we're at in the document here to go fish down to look at this stuff with you guys. Here's all the subclasses that we rebuilt using the power system for all the marshals, as well as the paladin, the artificer, not the artificer specifically, but we rebuilt infusions so that artificers are still spellcasters, but they can imbue magic items with martial power items, so that they can use their mana instead of spellcasting. They can channel their mana through their magic items that they create to, like have a sword of thundering strikes, for instance. When you hit with that sword, you can spend mana, and it'll trigger the thundering strike effect and punt your target across the room in addition to dealing additional thunder damage on the attack. So stuff like that. So the artificer can cheat their way into it. The warlock can cheat their way into it by taking Pact of the Blade, and then once they have Pact of the Blade, they can instead of learning an invocation, they can learn a power. So like you could like that. Instead of having the Eldritch Strike, the Eldritch Smite option, they could like pick Thundering Strike, Radiant Strike, and I don't know, like a Beguiling Strike for 3 different invocations from level 1, and then again at level 5 for 2nd rank. They follow the same half-casting progression as all the other classes do in this system. Everyone uses the 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 scale. You can put more mana in based on the maximum amount of levels that you have. And as you gain levels, the power die that you roll when you're doing these effects increases as well. You gain a stack of known powers and a stack of mana. Long rest, like rangers and paladins, they have 40 mana, basically 2 mana per day that they accumulate over time. And then barbarians, fighters, monks, and rogues, as well as warlock, pact magic, uses the short rest mechanic of 1 mana per level as you go up, and all of the classes have ways of cheating themselves into getting more mana or to reduce the cost of things that cost mana so that they can stretch their pool to go further. And a lot of times like a ranger can use a strike power. Like if I want to use Thundering Strike to deal thunder damage and then knock out an opponent 10 feet for every point of mana that I spend, if I mark you as my target, as my marked prey using the ranger class abilities, whenever I attack you, I can reduce the cost of a strike by 1 mana down to 0. So I can hit you for an extra die of thunder damage and push you 10 feet if I'm using Thundering Strike as my marked attack. So like that's basically effectively getting infinite mana. I could use a third rank power like I don't know, like Paralyzing Strike. Deal 3d10 thunder damage, like 3d10 psychic damage, and then they're paralyzed for a round. The ranger would be able to reduce that by 2, because if it's your marked target, you can reduce it by 1 from 3 mana down to 2 mana, and you just pay the difference. But like if your ranger has 2 attacks, you could sacrifice one of your attacks, and if you're attacking your marked target, you can reduce the cost by 2 because you sacrificed one of your attacks to deal extra damage. So everything about you can like peel off your action economy and do less in a round, but by doing less, you have more mana that's automatically fed into what you do. So like fighters are really fucking great at this because like at 11th level you have 3 attacks, so they can juice mana into everything they do every round as long as they're hitting things. So it's fun. It's a really fun, but you can ignore all of that if you don't like messing around with all this action economy tweaking and like building your character's feats and their kit abilities around specific results. If you don't want to bother with all that shit, you can just instead you get 16 powers that you learn over the course of your character that you can change every level. But if you don't want to fuck around with any of that, just take a shitload of feats instead. That way, when you gain an ASI at level 4, 8, 10, 12, 16, and 19, instead of taking a feat, you can just learn a feat, and then you can save your ASI to actually increase your stats like a real character should. So you can not have to worry about having so many ability scores that you're dependent on, because you're just learning feats as you go along instead of having something to do with your mana. You can just ignore your mana pool completely and just have every feat you could possibly ever want by, like, say, 7th level. You're decked out, and then from there on out, it's just gravy. Anyway, having said all that, when we're looking at backgrounds in Ravnica, you get a bunch of spells. But these guys aren't spellcasters, so they don't have access to these spells. Cantrips are okay. There's a lot of backgrounds that grant cantrips. You can get cantrips through feats. That's not a biggie, and having them retain their cantrips is actually a way to be able to connect the martial power characters to the spellcasting characters in the same guild. Since they're using the same mana resources, like Rakdos here, they use black and red mana. So you could be a sorcerer barbarian and flinging spells using black and red mana, as well as channeling different martial powers during your combat sequence, potentially mixing the two things together. So multi-classing becomes a smooth effort for all 13 classes, and the power scale is the same for all 13 of them because we spent a lot of time making sure it all curves out properly, and it plays fucking great. So it's a very different approach to it. It's a far more optimized Path of Exile, Diablo 4 skill tree sort of design philosophy for 5e games, but it's using all the tools that are in the official Wizard of the Coast content, because it's not economically viable for them to pursue the idea of actually converting MTG into a mechanical game of Dungeons & Dragons 5e. Kind of like how Essence 20, Renegade Games using Essence 20, it converted G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Power Rangers into a 5e clone game using the Essence 20 system that they have. I'm kind of taking that same approach, but since it's Magic the Gathering, I can use actual Magic the Gathering IPs that are published to build out actual books and stuff that I can publish on the DMsGuild. So that's what we're doing. On tomorrow, Saturday, during my design stream in the morning, my kitchen sink stream, I'll probably be developing mana uses for land, like swamplands and plains, forests, mountains, and stuff during a hex crawl environment, like a discovery exploration hex crawl campaign. I'm building one of those so that we can play test this martial power system at 3rd level to make sure that it feels good. I know it feels great at 12th to 20th level because that's how long I've been using it at my table, at my home table. But that's high end where you have a ton of resources and a lot of options. Of course, it feels great. I want to make sure that it still feels fun, flexible, and not overly complicated at low levels. So that's going to be happening like in February or March, I guess. And it'll go from level 3 to 7. It'll just be a round robin hex crawl sort of thing. Hey, do you like the power? Do you like the? Hey, Bifey. Do you like the power creep of spells and backgrounds? I don't care. If everyone has it, then it doesn't matter. It's just giving everyone an extra feat at 1st level, for instance, or saying everyone can prep spells instead of having to worry about some people memorizing and some people knowing spells. It's just a campaign preference. I really agree with Wizards' philosophy that things should be siloed. It doesn't make, like in Magic the Gathering, when counter spells and stuff like that is supposed to just be cracking off of characters all the time, then something like Silvery Barbs actually would make sense narratively inside of an MTG game space, except that the spell is so horribly balanced that it's disruptive to the game mechanics to use it. But the intent behind it is actually a really good idea. It was just poorly executed. So yeah, everything has its context. Like the dragon marks, for instance. If you're using dragon marks in your game, you should have a game where everyone has dragon marks, or those that don't, like, say, get an extra feat as a bonus, because there's a lot of value that you gain out of that. So it just depends on there was a discussion about like should sharpshooter / great weapon attack, great weapon master, should that just be something you automatically get as a martial character? And the answer is, if everyone is making use of it and it's kind of a null set, then yeah, everyone should get it. Just give it to them for free. If it is a statistical gain for the martial character that is helping them counteract, like, say, 3rd level spells, then you can either decide, is the martial falling behind so they should gain that feat for free, or is this the proper power curve because other characters that are as powerful or giving up that power to do other things, in which case you would be rewarding that character for having chosen their resources to go towards that extra damage option. So it really just kind of depends on how your game is set up, which is a non-answer, I know. But I think I'm probably pontificating the issue at this point. What we're doing today is we're converting Selesnya and Simic to the power system. So I'm going to extract this window here, but be welcome to wing questions at me. I've got a couple hours I can play today, so I should have plenty of opportunity to get through everything that I need. But when I finish, and I'll bounce out. I'm going to work on the Dimir Rogue Ninja on Monday. Since we'll be done with this phase of the development, I'll be open to start building sample characters. So we'll start off with we'll start with a third level. Yeah, we'll start with a third level Dimir Ninja type character, and we'll just build it to spec for third level. And the campaign, the playtest campaign will go 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th level. So that'll be 5 levels. I figure a month on like 4 sessions on each level, and just automatically level the characters up. So I'll have 10 characters, 1 for each guild, and have a pretty wide spread of different character type options. And just to build and fuck around with it, just to see what kind of cool shit we can build and what kind of action economy we can create and how we can tweak the system to build characters with like either good rounded skills or like hyper focus on a particular type of trick. Since most of these characters are capable of swapping out their entire kit whenever you take a long rest, you can just learn different powers like a wizard or a cleric can swap out their entire spell deck. You can swap out all your disciplines. So you're really only choosing, like when we build a pre-built character, it's only like, here's an instance of what this type of a character could be. But when you go to a new scenario, you can swap out all your powers completely and have a completely different performance. So we're really just taking a stack of characters and showing how you can express different action loops and different play style end goals that can be created from various different, like you can play a ranger and a paladin using the same set of powers, but they'll feel completely different because the paladin and the ranger bring different tools to the table for how they can manipulate and make use of mana, or the powers that are triggered when using mana. So we'll have an opportunity to do that some too. So that's gonna be really fucking fun. I think the most fun is just gonna be to decide on like which guild we're gonna use. And so I already, just because of the conversation that we had, I know I want to start with Dimir for rogue and an assassin ninja sort of bend. And that should be a lot of fun. So we'll do that on Monday. But for now, I'm desperately attempting to stay on target with the conversation at hand. We only have 2 more guilds to go, but each of them takes anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how much deliberation there is over what the options are. So moving past the feats as powers, and then we get into the damage types. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison are basic, versus more advanced damage types, which you can learn at 5th, is force, necrotic, psychics, radiant, and thunder damage. And then using the magic paradigm, when in this playtest, when you're playing a Ravnica character, one of the Ravnica Guild background characters, there's 2 colors that represent each guild. Like Boros is white and red. So the basic elemental damage types that go with those colors are cold, fire, or you could opt into lightning for red instead of fire if you want. And then the advanced damage type for white is radiant, and for red is force damage. So you get 2 colors that you can build your character out of, and so you can gain one of these for free. You can choose white, or like a Boros character would choose white or red damage at 1st level, and then when you get to 5th level, you could choose radiant or force. If you want to forego your the background cantrips that you get, like for example, Boros cantrips of Firebolt and Sacred Flame, you can sacrifice those cantrips and pick up additional damage types. So you can get all 4 of your damage types, 2 at level 1 and then 2 at level 5 for free if you forego cantrips. If you like the cantrips, there you go. You can blow a feat to swap out what those cantrips are. So that way you have you have flexibility, but staying inside of what the class offers. So what the guild offers. So a Boros character would have 2 sources of magic. It would have white and red magic. And so while you're building your character, if it doesn't cost any mana, it can be used with any mana. Like if it doesn't require you to spend mana on it, it could be whatever color you want, white or red, it doesn't matter. It's just narrative flavor because it doesn't actually cost your character any mana to use it. Flavor is free, just like casting the ability is. But for other things, the things that do require mana, the 5 disciplines, which again, to readdress is, hold on, get through the rules. Exploits, maneuvers, reactions, strikes, and sustained powers. The default format is that all classes gain access to all 5 disciplines, but a DM will have a section in the DM section about limiting power. Like you may decide a rogue should only have access to exploits and strikes. So you can swap out sneak attack damage to do strike effects. Kind of like cunning strikes in the playtest for 2024 right now. It's the same sort of idea. You reduce the amount of sneak attack dice you get to get free mana to then spend on casting spells. It's like temporary mana that you gain. It's effectively the same thing. It's just the narrative of it. And then exploits allow you to modify die rolls, like to boost ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls. That's a pretty rogue-like thing to be able to do. So you could decide that the rogue only has access to exploits and strikes. So when they're picking things, that's all they get, unless their default class gives them something else, in which case they could use that. So you could limit their access to power, but assuming you don't limit what they can choose and they have access to all 5 disciplines, sustain can use both colors. So if you're, again, with Boros, if you have a sustained effect, which are like concentration aura effects that you trigger to buff yourself, you could use black, a Boros could use white and or red, whichever one you want in combination, to channel sustained effects. And then you only have 4 disciplines left. Pick 2 disciplines and devote those disciplines to one color, and then the other 2 disciplines are devoted to the other color. So a Boros character could decide that strikes and reactions are red, because they're emotional, they're instantaneous effects, they're aggressive, they're combat. So reactions and strikes are like in the moment, quick action type stuff. That would make a lot of sense for a red themed Boros character to have that. And then you could have your maneuvers, which are like point click spell effects, and exploits, again, which modify die rolls. You could decide those are white, the divination magic of white that's flowing through you, the angel's blessings that permeate the Boros Legion. That's what's empowering the magic of those effects. And each color combination can have a different narrative that goes behind why you've devoted those disciplines to that color on your character. Because you could just decide that your Boros character doesn't have any exploits and you don't bother learning any maneuvers. All you do are learn reactions and strikes and sustained powers, and all of your mana is red. You know white exists, and for cantrips and other free effects that you get, you can narrate those as such minor presence in your character that there's almost no white energy in you all. It's almost all red. You're like a barbarian rager frontline banneret charging giants with a beer stein, because that's how gun-ho you are about fighting evil in the world. It's like there's no strategy, there's no camaraderie, there's just rage against evil. So you're like 99% red and like just a smidgen of white magic, and that's how you narrate your characters. They're explosive, dynamic, emotional, overly committed, don't think first, always jump and ask questions second. Like that's how you can narrate that character. Or you could flip it and it could be like, you could decide that reactions and strikes are white and the red is in exploits and maneuvers, or you could decide that white is maneuvers and strikes. So you're a battle master type character and it's all white. So you're all about structure, you're all about your working with your allies, feeding them action economy through your white magic of legionnaire army and the solidity and the unity of angelic energy that's radiated from the white magic. And very little of it is red. You're dispassionate. You've minimized your emotional commitment to battle, just looking at it from the greatest good. How many of these soldiers can I bring back, and what decisions do I need to make to do that? So all of your maneuvers go into extra action economy and buffering your allies, while your strikes are about like creating space or disabling targets so that your team can mob up on them. Same character, same guild, same colors and often same disciplines, but the way that you narrate it is completely different, and now you have a completely different ludonarrative about how your character operates that complements the attitude and the philosophies and the personality that you want to put the character into. Which is why color magic is by far the best alignment philosophy system you could possibly have for D&D. It's amazing. So obviously I'm a geek about it. So we're working on today Selesnya. Selesnya is white and green magic. So they have the green magic is about being part of tradition and the natural order of progression, while white energy is about organizing and protecting and building society and protecting all levels of that society within the structure. So you're creating a natural order within nature as part of the nature spirits to help organize into a more perfect utopia. That's kind of the attitude that they have. And they can get really fucking militant about it. So they're like hippies with shotguns, you know, keep that in mind. So we're going to take the kit, the Selesnya kit here, and start building it out. So let's flip down to the next chapter. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, yeah, druids, rangers, barbarians. Less barbarians, they're not as passionate. Barbarians are like heavy red energy, but you can see them in green pretty easily too. But yeah, they're the druidy types. Let's see, let's get down to their spell selection. Druidcraft and Friends. Nice. Animal Friendship and Charm Person. So how would we, what are we going to convert that into? That feels like exploits to me. What was it again? Animal Friendship and Charm Person. So let's go look at exploits first. Maybe super obvious, but veterinary training. When making an ability check that can use animal handling, medicine, or survival skill, roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest roll to your result. That's pretty obvious. Great thing about these powers is they don't need veterinary training. That is exploit 1. They don't have to be like the most, they don't have to be great powers, they just have to be representative and flavorful, because you can swap out all the powers that you know when you take a long rest, so you can rebuild your combat kit, whatever you need for whatever challenges you're facing for that day. But having this broad base of powers that are coming through the background and the subclass that you select, that gives you 20 free powers over the course of 20 levels that can be more flavor focused and narrative intent, while potentially being, you know, statistically favorable for whatever build you're trying to do. But they're just there as something you can do. Like, you're a Selesnya character. You're always going to be able to lean on spirits to help you understand what you need to do to help animals. It's just something you can do. So it gets built into your kit with veterinary training. So there's that. Let's see. And then Charm Person. Beguiling Trance, you can target a creature that you can see that can also see you to make a Wisdom saving throw. If it fails, it is charmed and cannot take actions until it can no longer see you. Takes damage or succeeds a Wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. A creature can use an action to shake the creature, ending the effect. It's more of a sleepy time effect. But it would be, it's not limited to any type of creature. It's just whatever. So you could use this on a bear to stop it from raging just as easily as you could use it on a person. It's basically like a single target sleep spell. So yep. All right. Beguiling Trance. I like it. Maneuver 1. Let's see. Aid, animal lesson. Jesus Christ, have some spells, dude. Ooh, Warding Bond. That's a really good one. Calm Emotions, Animal Messenger, Aid. All right, so I see some good stuff in here. This is going to be able to make use of maneuvers. So let's see. Warding Bond. Where is it? Hold on. Curse Brand Theurgy. Oh, it's a reaction I'm thinking of. Hold on. Interpose. As a reaction to when an adjacent ally takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of the damage and gain resistance to it. This is considered an opportunity attack. There are some options inside of this system that allows you to convert the number of attacks that you have per round into potential opportunity attacks. And there are a number of effects that are, a number of reactions that are distinguished as being just a reaction versus an opportunity attack. There's like 30 different types of opportunity attacks in here that let you do fast action type stuff, like re-rolling a saving throw, spend a point of mana and re-roll a saving throw, and if you succeed, congratulations. That is a reaction, as opposed to interpose here, which is if an ally is taking damage, I can take as much damage for them as I want. That is an opportunity attack. I could potentially, like an 11th level fighter, could potentially do that 4 times per round. As their natural reaction, they can convert it into an opportunity attack to soak damage for somebody. And then for each attack action that they sacrifice during their round, if they sacrifice all 3 of their attacks, they can now have 3 opportunity attacks to do something with, like this, or just to use as an opportunity attack. Like if somebody moves into your space, or tries to move through or move out of your space, whatever condition it is that you have active right now, like Polearm Master, for instance. You could then use your opportunity attack to trigger the Polearm, the Sentinel feature of stopping their movement when they try to move inside of your space with the Sentinel feature. You could use that as a feat, hit them with an opportunity attack. Of course, you will only use 1, but the fighter has up to 4 of them at 11th level if they go with Hypertunistic. And so they could then use opportunity attacks like that, and every time they use an opportunity attack against an opponent, they could put 1 point of thunder damage into it using Thundering Strike, and when they hit, they push them back 10 feet. So you could do that 4 times around. You can become basically a wall of blades that you can use as a hard stop for advancing targets that are trying to hit your back line, like get through you to get to the mages on the back line. If you're using an opportunist fighter like that, you can convert all of your attacks and just be on full defense, using your bonus actions to make attacks if it comes up. But otherwise, just converting all of your attack actions into anticipated opportunity attacks, and then just kit into every type of opportunity attack you have available to you through maneuvers and reactions. That's a completely different action loop. Like you could build a barbarian that does that, like a barbarian Path of the Ancients. Path of the Ancestors, right? You get those spirit things that do disadvantage on creatures, and then you can stack that up with opportunity attack effects to keep pushing them away from your team, or when you hit them, like to ground them so like they're automatically prone, and when they're prone, you can use a bonus attack to hit them while they're prone, stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at. But interpose is exactly the power I was thinking of. So this would be interpose, right? Interpose. That's basically like a martial version of warding bond. So, and it's 2nd rank, right? No, God, it's only 1st rank. That's freaking awesome. Right on. Let's see what other spell effects. I get so many of them. Aid. Aid's a good one. Let's look at that real quick. Your spell bolsters your allies and toughens the resolve. Choose up to 3 creatures within range. Each target's hit point maximum and current hit point increases by 5 for the duration. That's really good. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, this is a 2nd level spell. The target's hit points increases by an additional 10. Okay, so we have a maneuver that bolsters and grants temporary hit points to allies. Let's go find it. Pretty sure it's 1st level too. Rally, you are an ally you can see that can see or hear you, gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana burned. So this is a 1 mana effect, but at 1st level it would be a d6. By the time I get to 17th level, I could spend 5 mana and I'm rolling a d10. So I could buff my, as a bonus action, I could trigger 5 mana and give my ally a 5d10 temporary hit points. And as long as I've got mana to spend, I can keep doing that over and over. I can do that twice a round. I can do it as an action. I can do it as a bonus action. I can target the same guy twice because he's got a shit roll, or I could target 2 different people because they were decent rolls. It would cost mana each time I do that. Unless, of course, I'm like, say, an 11th level fighter and I surrender all 3 of my attacks to use a bonus action to do that, then I buy down the cost by 3 mana. So for free, I can spend my entire round to give you up to 3d10, for instance, 3d10 temporary hit points. Is that worth all your action economy? Not always. Sometimes it's better just to hit something 3 times. But other times, that's a super fucking useful thing to be able to do to save somebody who's about to die, for instance. And it happens to be your turn, and you can do something about it. I'm going to buff them up with Rally. And then you could do, like, I don't know, like bait and switch. Since you can do 2 maneuvers per round as a bonus action and a standard action. Where is it? Hold on. Oh, is bait and switch a reaction? First off, let's make sure I get that, Rally. God, such a great ability. I think that's a straight Battle Master, if I recall correctly. Rally is a maneuver 1. There we go. Hold on, I want to go see bait and switch real quick. Oh, yeah, it's a reaction. So bait and switch, I can't just do at will. Where is it? Come on, you're very soon for all my friends. Hold on. There we go, bait and switch. First level exploit. When you're within 5 feet, this is an exploit. It doesn't cost any action economy to do that. This is just converting the Battle Master technique maneuver. When you're within 5 feet of a creature during your turn, you can burn 1 or more mana to switch places with that creature, provided you spend at least 5 feet of movement. The creature is willing and isn't incapacitated. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Until the start of your next turn, you or the target creature gain a bonus to armor class equal to the result of the highest power die result. So if I'm rolling a D8, I bait and switch with you. We switch spots by 5. We switch spots within 5 feet, and either you or me are going to get a D8 bonus to our armor class until the start of my next turn. There you go. So that's a super good shield effect. Let's see. Plant growth, speak with plants. There's not a lot of usefulness there, but let's see what we can extract. What? Plant stuff? Plant growth, speak with plants. Let's go down into sustained powers and see. Where is it? Hold on. Omnilinguist. While sustaining this power, you can communicate with and be understood by any creature with a spoken language. It's not a perfect match. It's certainly not allowing you to communicate with plants directly. So I mean, touche, Monfrey. But you're not a druid, so I don't have a problem with that directly. Let's see what else is going on. Strange metabolism. While sustaining this power, you're immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, as a bonus action, you can make an unarmed attack that deals 1 power die of poison damage, and the creature is poisoned until it succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. And this is what, 2 mana? Looks like it. Yeah, I like that. Let's go with Strange Metabolism and Omnilinguist. That's also a very Simic sort of thing, that Strange Metabolism. I almost feel bad giving it to Selesnya and then wanting to have it in Simic right next to it. Makes me look like a hack. Plant stuff, huh? Oh, Okay, let's do this instead. Yeah, I'm gonna steal Strange Metabolism from Selesnya. I'm gonna give it to Simic. There. We all know what's gonna happen. Here instead, let's go with there's a restraining effect. So hold on. It's a maneuver. It's basically whatever that vine spell is. Phase, double curse, advantage. Restraining hold. No, that's melee. Code, rally, restraining, swift, curse, healing, Theurgy, generation. I'm looking for it. Hold on. Huh. Choose flatten. Choose a creature within 30 feet. It takes one. It takes one power die of per mana of force damage, and if it fails a strength saving throw, it's knocked prone. It can end the prone condition after a successful saving throw at the end of each of its turns. That's pretty fun. Goad. We might go with that. Resilient. Yeah. Ground fighting. When you're making an ability, oh, that's for grappling stuff. Nah. Let's see. So channeling, tactical assessment, veterinary training, cooperative effort. I'm hunting. Moving target, redirect, fickle fate, anchor. This is challenge. Oh, okay. Restrained strike. The creature is restrained until it succeeds a strength save at the end of each of its turns. Size large or larger gets a roll with advantage. There we go. Restrained strike. Took me long enough. We got there. And then what happens at 4? Aura of life and conjure elemental. Okay. That will be a healing effect. Go down to our maneuvers. Go fetch, what's it called? Healing Radiance. There you go. Second rank. You can heal one creature you touch with a number of hit points equal to the result of one power die per mana burn. Healing Radiance. Very simple. So it's a shitty heal effect. You can gain it. I mean, you can gain it any time you want. No, it's maneuver level 2. Starting at 5th level, you can get anytime you want. By the time you're 13th level, you get it for free. So you just take it off the list of things that you've learned and things that you just know. Let's see. Radiance. What was the other thing? Wow. Conjure elemental. Awaken and commune with nature. Elemental. So let's see. Oh, sustained powers. Becoming immune to shit. Hold on. Elemental resistance. That's not bad. When you channel this power, choose one type of damage. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage and gain advantage on saving throws to reduce the damage taken of the chosen damage type. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different type of damage with each channeling. Elemental resistance. Sus, what is that, sus 1? Feels like it. Yeah, sus 1. And then, what, awaken and something crazy? Awaken and commune. Okay, let's just go look at the top end shit and see what's laying around up here. Daunting presence. Attack against you at disadvantage. Yeah. Nope, and nope, and nope. Sturdy like a lobster. Let's see. Giant growth isn't outrageous. Let's do that. Slesny is known for being big. Oh, right, a revival. I don't know. We picked that up a lot on a lot of people. Hexproof isn't bad. As a reaction to a creature, you can see targets you with a spell or magical effect. The creature must succeed a charisma saving throw at a disadvantage, or you are unaffected, and the spell or effect is wasted. That's a very blue sort of effect. I'm wanting a fickle fate. As a reaction to when a creature, fate is blue. Inker is white. As a reaction to a creature attempting to move to help, but it's not specifically Selesnya. Defensive barrier. It's more of a red effect. I mean, it doesn't have to be. That's just how I envision it. TK bubble. Wave of terror. Flicker pounce. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Lift. Shunt. Run out of stuff. Unstoppable when an effect. Huh. I don't know. Maybe indestructible does feel right. Gruul has it. That's awesome. All right, let's do it. Indestructible is for Boros too. Yeah, I think I can jive with that. Let's just give him indestructible. That's fair. Jeeps. All right, Simic. Looking forward to it. Let's see where we go with Simic. Acid Splash and Druidcraft. Love it. We are the Flesh Sculptors. Detect poison and disease. Expeditious retreat. Jump. Okay, let's go. Let's just play inside of the sustained powers a lot, as much as we can. Fast. When sustaining this power, your walking speed increases by your proficiency bonus, multiplied by 10. That should actually be your walking speed increases by your max channel and max rank. So it's 1 at first, it's 10, and then it gets up to 50 at... That was an old hangover. I still have some hangovers laying around. Let's go with fast. That just makes sense. Fast. Let's see. Lycanthropy. While sustaining this power, you can shift form into a lycanthrope creature. Your appearance changes to adopt features of a creature of your choice, such as fur or scales, and a beak, claw, fangs, tail, etc. And gain the following benefits. Heightened senses. Gain advantage on wisdom, perception, and investigation checks. Feral might. Gain advantage on strength checks. Natural weapon. Gain unarmed attacks that deal 1 power die plus strength or dexterity modifier, slashing or piercing damage. There you go. So, lycanthropy is fucking awesome. Let's see what you get it to. Spider climb, I bet? Nope. Enlarge, reduce, alter self, enhance ability. Okay. This guy's got a lot going on. This is very, very easy for us to flesh out. What else we got? Forensic attacks. Let's go with Tremor Sense here. Let's go with Weapon. That feels good. And what else we got left down here? When you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks during your turn to gain an equal number of additional opportunity attacks, limited to 1 per turn, including your own, that can be used before your next turn. That feels good. And what was that, 2 mana? Nice. There. Holy crap, that was easy. Cynic, I think is the okay. As always, you guys have access to this stuff. You can read it. If you all think that there's something that you believe would be better representing a power on here that you think is mismatched, and you have a better suggestion to replace any of these, I am totally open to hearing it. Drop me a link in the Discord, or shout out at me in the Ravnica set in the martial powers section of the Discord channel that we have set up. And again, for those I haven't seen, here's the Discord link here in the description. So swing by, say hi, and let me know what you think. If any of these, if you can build a better kit than I've presented here, I am very much interested in hearing your arguments, and reserve rights to veto, but I'm open to the discussion and the debate. I think that's fun. So we successfully built out these kits. This was our agenda for the day. What's going to happen when we come back on Monday is Monday lunchtime. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to build a 3rd level Dimir Rogue character using the system that will be a generic opt-in character that anyone that's participating in the martial powers playtesting, once that begins, we're just gonna have a stack of 10 characters, ready to go, pre-generated characters for you. We're gonna generate them here on stream, so that while we're building these characters, while you can switch out the powers that you know when you take a long rest, and you can change one every time you take a short rest to have a very dynamic, fluid, adapting purpose in the party to help optimize the situations that you're in. Having a default character where they start gives you an idea of like what was envisioned that this character can be and can do. So all we're really doing here is just building little showcases of how to use the guilds, character classes, races, and archetypes to blend those all together to manipulate the mana pool and the power selections that you choose for your character. So I am very, very much looking forward to that. I've been waiting a long time to get to this point where we can actually start cooking. Just cooking shit. So it'll be fun. I look forward to catching up with you guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning at the workbench. I think we're going to be working on random color-coded random dungeon generators tomorrow. Tomorrow morning for our design stream, so that while we're conducting the Rubble Belt West March campaign, anytime you want to delve underground into the Undercity ruins, we should be able to quickly generate a little 5-room dungeon that you guys can poke around at, fight some stuff, maybe find some loot as like a cash drop sort of thing, and give you something to do. And because each land tile that you move into is going to be 2 colors, or it's going to be ultra focused as 1 color, but there's going to be a variable of 2 potential colors that land tile could be. And then each tile, there's a chance that there's going to be a random encounter present on the surface while you're traversing through the tile, and that becomes the challenge that you have to face for that encounter, for successfully scouting and securing that tile for you to move the caravan forward, the caravan that you're protecting during as the scenario for the escort mission, the incredibly ornate escort mission campaign that we're building here for Ravnica. Each tile has a chance of random encounters, and if there is no random encounter that's generated on the surface, then there will be an obvious entrance into a dungeon space, either up into a high rise if there's ascending elevation, or a wound in the ground that leads into underdark passageways that can unveil anything. So there'll either be a random encounter at the surface level, or there'll be a dungeon. Dungeons don't automatically mean that the area is threatened. It just means that if you aren't careful, you could arouse whatever is inside of it to come out and find what's going on and potentially become a threat. But any tiles that you don't resolve the random encounters inside of, if you try to take a long rest in an unsecured tile, then that night you are going to trigger an attack. So you have to find the threats, resolve the threats, and then move the caravan into a position where it won't be threatened while you take your long rest, so that when you wake up the next day, you can move forward into another tile, resolve the threats that are there as you're going across the landscape, trying to find either a way back home or a way to communicate with home for them to send somebody to come and pick you guys up because you're stranded in the middle of wastelands and you need to survive long enough to find a way home. So there you go. That's the game that we're going to be playing. It should be RNG enough that it'll be fun for us just to throw stuff down, to not have like a hard hard narrative storyline. It's just the storyline is simple. Keep your caravan alive. Go find a way to resolve being stranded. And there'll be a number of ways. We're already starting to create a list of ways that you could win. And if you win, then we'll just start up a new scenario, drop you into a new square, and then create a new winning condition for you guys to go find. So it's literally just a hex crawl, make it up as you go along, no background, grinding dice and making up a narrative as you go along, and we'll just catalog what those discoveries are for each team that shows up on the West March. It's whoever shows up to play, that's who's in rotation for scouting today. So go do your best and good luck. So that's, yeah, it should be a whole lot of fun. Very, very, very beer and pretzel-y. But we're just there for the feels and to see how well the mana system works and see how fun it is for people to throw stuff around, and to get a sense of if it's as dynamic and as fun as it feels to my home table. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. I'm outie. I will see hopefully some of you guys tomorrow morning. I hope you have a safe night, and I'll see you all later.